All right, here is Andrew Tate's final message.
I was thinking for a long time how
Damn,
to
this one got 1 million views, dog. That's crazy.
start this video.
Okay, listen, before we even watch this final message thing, I'm just waiting for Tucker Carlson to have him on because I care about that more than anything else, because this is boring. Why is this boring? Because it's woman behavior. It's female behavior to try and talk for 1 hour. A man, a real man, is clear and concise with his message. A man doesn't chirp for 1 hour about being banned and being kicked off the Matrix. When you live outside the Matrix, you need to be a man. A man doesn't need 73 minutes to make a point. That's women behavior. You also put your shirt back on, which is, again, female behavior. A man frees the nipple. So this is not top G behavior. This is bottom G behavior.
Because it needs to be concise and compendious, but I also want it to be very, very comprehensive.
Dude, he put music in the background too. God, this is so shitty. God damn, dude. Oh God, his apology video, which I'm sure will be, first of all, he said concise, 73 minutes, not exactly concise. Also use the word compendious. What a fucking dildo, dude. This is not the good shit. The good shit is like short, punchy quips where he just says like dumb shit like, oh, women are bitches. They're property. They're your property and they should act like it. That's what gets the people going. Not like, oh man, I got banned off social media and now I'm gonna be a good boy. I promise.
And I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. There's been many different versions of my life story, which have been put on the internet as of late and from many years ago. But I'm gonna give a very, very quick overview of my story.
Andrew Tate did one debate and then his life fell apart, dude. Andrew Tate, this is a story about never doing debates. Sometimes you think you're debating a pink-haired SJW, and then some guy comes in, and you don't know who this man is, and then he starts saying things like imperial evidence, and you don't know what that means, so you repeat it, and you say imperial evidence. What does this have to do with the empire? And then before you know it, everyone's cutting videos about how much you suck.
My life has always been difficult. I've certainly had a difficult life. I preach to the people who follow me that as a man, trauma and difficulty is extremely important because it's the building blocks for mental fortitude.
A former friend of mine was posting his shit on Facebook and his ex commented, I literally used to peg you daily. Oh my God.
So I'm very, very happy that my life has been difficult because it's impossible to become a capable man or a man of my capability without struggling with basic.
Dude, why is everything he owns so gray? That's, again, female behavior. A real man doesn't have a couch. It also goes along like a bond layer. Interior decoration is female behavior. Are you a woman? Why do you care about your interior decoration? Also, it's color matching his fit.
Adversities without trying to overcome often insurmountable odds. I grew up in South Side of Chicago. I'm obviously a person of color. In school, to a degree, and my father always taught me to stick up for myself. I was never allowed to run and cry to authority. I was told that if—
Oh man hit the I'm a POC so quick. Like he hit the I'm actually a POC and I'm from the South Side of Chicago so quick, dude. It's crazy.
Someone wants to mess with you or come at you, you can't always go tell the teacher. Sometimes you have to deal with it. I was actually picked on by these two kids.
He's from Gary, Indiana, by the way. Big L.
I think I was around 5 and they were around 7. They were a bit older and used to pick on me on the school bus. They'd sit behind me, throw things at me, hit me, etc. And I came home and I told my dad about it. I said, Dad, these 2 kids are picking on me every single time I get the school bus. I don't know what to do. And my dad said, I'm not going to call the teacher.
Is he going to turn around and be like, that's why I became the bully? Like, what do you mean? What are you teaching children? Dog. This is a villain origin story. He's like, I was bullied, so I became the bully, and then I told other people to also become the bullies.
Because the teacher ain't on the bus, and I'm not going to call the school bus driver because they're busy driving. Son, if you want to deal with this, you're going to have to deal with it yourself. And I said, but Dad, they're bigger than me. What do you want me to do? There's 2 of them, and they're bigger than me. And at the time, I'd just come home from school, and I was holding a lunchbox. And my dad pointed and said, you have a lunchbox, son? So weeks had passed. It was a few weeks.
Dad said, do an assault with a weapon. That's awesome.
They kept picking on me, and I felt myself sitting there getting more insecure, and the rage was boiling inside of me. And one day, one of them slapped me in the side of the face from behind. I was sitting on the chair. He slapped me in the face from behind. And instantly, I don't know what it was, but this was the day I had enough. And I turned with my lunchbox and swung it over the back of the school bus chair and caught him and busted his eye clean open. The plastic Batman lunch.
Is that editing? No shot. He put sound effects on this?
Lunchbox. Hit him in the eye and blood started squirting everywhere. All the children started screaming. And as I did this, the bus had just come up to a stop. It was a few stops before my stop, but it had stopped. And as the bus stopped and the screaming happened, I just got up and I ran and I just ran off the bus and ran home. I've never run so fast or so far in my life. I was full of adrenaline. I just ran. When I got home, I had blood on my clothes and my dad looked at me.
Bro, what is this story time production, dude? Yo, there's like sound effects in his story. Yo, okay, I should have watched this before, bro. This shit's funny as hell.
So what happened? And I said, that kid, I won't say his name. I said his name at the time. I said, that kid, he hit me in the face and
I won't say his name. What are you gonna dox someone from 30 years ago, bro?
I had enough of getting hit in the face. And I was still holding the lunchbox, but it was all smashed up. And my dad kind of smiled a little bit and said, don't worry, son. We got in the car and we went to Walmart. We walked up and down the aisle and he looked and picked up another lunchbox, an exact replica of the same blue Batman lunchbox, gave it to me and said, I'll buy you as many of these as you need. And that was the last we spoke of it. I never saw that kid again. I don't know if he changed schools. I don't know what his parents did, but I never saw that child again.
He killed him. He died, bro. The moral of the story, kill your enemies. That's what I learned at the age of 5. Also, his accent went away. I can't even do his accent now. He doesn't even sound like himself. What the going on?
Even from a very, very young age, I was taught that going to authority and crying and hoping someone else is going to fix your problems is not the way a man should conduct it. I moved to Luton, England, which was...
Bro, he's from Gary, Indiana. He's not from Chicago. He's not from Southside Chicago. He's doing the classic bit of like, listen, if you're close enough to Chicago, you just say you're from Chicago. Another classic thing is like when people grow up in, well, maybe not Dearborn, but if you grow up in like Ann Arbor or some shit, you always say you're from Detroit because like you want to present yourself as hard, okay? Now, Luton is actually dog shit from what I understand. So like Luton, that part is real. Honestly, Gary got cred too. Isn't Gary, Indiana the most dangerous city in the US? I don't know why he doesn't say he's from there. Why does he say he's from Southside Chicago? Doesn't Gary have the highest murder rate in America? Does it? I thought it was St. Louis. Gary has some credit. Freddie Gibbs from there. Gary, Indiana, big L. But Luton is also pretty bad.
Multiple times voted the worst town in England. The high crime rate. It's a very bad area.
He's not wrong.
My mother and father broke up, so I was in a...
You know what it is? I think that's why he didn't say Gary, because people don't know Gary, Indiana like that. The people don't know Gary, Indiana is like that. So he says Chicago is literally right next to Southside Chicago. That's why I think he's saying Southside Chicago because it sounds cooler. And immediately people know like, oh, people don't know Gary, Indiana like that, but everybody knows what Southside Chicago is. And he wants like street cred.
Single mother household. And now I'm a person of color in a single mother household. I'm also the only American at the
I think I know why. Say Gary in his accent. Gary, Indiana.
Time. In Luton. And I had, again, repeat problems in school. I was picked on for being the only American. I was picked on for not knowing things I should have known because I hadn't been through the English educational system. I'd been through the American educational system. And I had trouble in school again, but I stuck up for myself. Unfortunately, nothing got violent at any point, but when people made fun of me, I stood up.
He's a person of color. He's black. He's half black. His dad's black. Or I think quarter. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, he is black. I'm not saying he's not. I mean, he is also very reactionary and, routinely says like up shit. I've never seen him directly say really awful shit, like super racist shit about black people, but I have seen him say super racist shit that other racist people say about black people. Like if a purple person was constantly stealing your shit, and you saw a purple person and you thought to yourself, oh, this purple person is gonna steal my shit. That's normal. If you didn't think that, he's used, purple is instead of saying like a black person, or instead of using the classic example that like racist people use, he says like, in order to basically remove himself of like any sort of like, this guy's a racist takes, he says purple.
I would say, listen, don't make fun of me. I'm from a different place and I talk different. And I always understood standing up for yourself. I never went to the teacher. I never cried to anybody else. I just stood up for myself. And over time, people learned respect for me and my boundaries, and they were very respectful of me. And I had a very positive experience from then on out in school by simply standing up for myself, because this is how I was taught to act. In high school, I ended up having a reputation of a guy that nobody really messed with. I certainly wasn't a bully. Absolutely.
The Black Manosphere kicked Tate out a while ago? No, I don't think so. Fresh and Fit love Andrew Tate. What do you mean? They dick ride him so hard? Yeah, I don't think Black Manosphere think he's bad. He's like...
Absolutely the opposite, but no one really picked on me. I actually had a friend in school who was gay. I had 5 main friends in school, and I was also friends with a gay guy. He would make fun of me for being American, and I would make fun of him for being gay back then. But the world was a very, very different place. This is many, many years ago. And we had friendly banter back and forth. We were very good friends. And I stuck up for him and prevented anyone else picking on him all of the time. And the banter between us, the locker room talk, which would be considered absolutely unacceptable today, at the time was very, very normal. And we had a great time. We were good friends. And I heard from him, actually, after this ban. And he said, you should mention the fact that the things they say about you completely aren't true. And this leads me on to the reason I believe these narratives have managed to gain such a foothold in popular consciousness. Due to the fact I've managed to develop an iron mind.
FD did a video on it. The older Black Manosphere people don't like Tate, Fresh and Fit, because they're anti-black. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know the intricacies of the Black Manosphere and the older Black Manosphere content creators. I could see that, though. I could see why they would say that. But wait a minute. Why the f don't they get mad at, what's his face? Kevin Samuels, then. He's literally the OG of the oldest, the elderly Black Manosphere content creators. And he says a bunch of shit that was like up about black, because I guess it's black women. Maybe that's why. Ain't is on Tucker. Not working. The balding dude from Fish and Fit is a Fed, yes.
Because I'm probably the only individual on earth who can be vilified to this level without taking personal insult and without being emotionally affected. What I have done is I've allowed certain narratives to gain traction, which I shouldn't have allowed to gain traction, because they didn't personally bother me, because I
yeah, misogyny, that you were like the #1 women hater.
know they are false. I live with a very, very pure heart. I'm a religious man. I go to church. Anyone who follows me in detail knows I donate huge sums of money to the church. And as long as I knew the truth of my heart and God knew the truth of my heart, I wasn't interested in lies being purported. I now understand that that's wrong.
Bro, this is so funny. Come on, brother. You're a cyber pimp. The do you mean? Like, you donate to the church and shit? Dude, people are so stupid. I swear to God. He's like, oh, I go to church like all the time. Bro, you literally have openly talked about pimping women, like grooming them into sex work and then pimping them out. The do you mean you give money to the church? What is happening right now? I feel like people have completely, like, people genuinely don't have object permanence now. I think, like, maybe the internet, especially TikTok, like all this shit just like canceled out a part of our brains that, I don't know, forms memories and shapes our opinion of individuals. Last week, he was like, yeah, I'm pimping my girlfriends. I'm grooming them. Young girls, because they're pure. And then now he's like, I'm a religious man. I love the church. I mean, I guess the young girls and impurity is that goes along with the church narrative, but like, but last week he was also talking about how he was like sexting people and like scamming them out of their monies. It doesn't make sense. Like, what the are people gonna be like, oh yeah, you're a godly guy now?
Because even though I've done nothing, even though it doesn't emotionally affect me, even though God and myself know my innocence, the public.
Yeah, he's like, he's a POC check, has a gay friend check, is religious and donates to the church check. He hit all these checkpoints in 7 minutes.
Public consciousness has been polluted to a point where narratives are being purported which are absolutely and utterly false. And it's having a genuine negative impact on the people who I care about and the people who care about me. And despite the fact it doesn't emotionally affect me, as a man, I have a duty to protect all of those I love. And for this reason, these narratives have started to become very, very harmful. I was under understanding that on the internet, people don't like you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you say. There's going to be some people who don't like you, and the people who don't like you are not interested in the truth. What they are interested in is finding some lie that they can latch onto and accelerating that lie.
Damn, that editing is pretty good. He really broke the bank on this one. Whoever edited this video hit my line. You know what I mean? You're doing a good job.
As much as possible.
This is like way sexier than Jordan Peterson's boring ass. But anyway, it's time for Tucker Carlson, who now has Andrew Tate live.
A former kickboxer who's built up a truly enormous following on social media. Until a couple months ago, we'd never heard of him. And then the other day, virtually every tech company on the planet banned him. Not just his presence, but also his ability to conduct business on the internet. He was taken off Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. Then they started telling you that not only was he not allowed to talk, but that you weren't allowed to like him because he was an incredibly bad person. And our view on that always is we'll decide for ourselves, since we're adults and Americans, and we'll listen to anyone we want, and we'll come to any conclusion we care to come to about what that person is about. So we sat down at some length and talked to Andrew Tate, and we wanted to show you some of it so you could make up your own mind, which you're still allowed to do as far as we're concerned. Here's part of the interview.
I don't really feel like I've exposed anything. Like, I'm truly not a very political person. This is the first time someone's experienced this level of ban. I'm not particularly right-wing. I don't vote. I mean, I obviously have my own personal views, but they didn't ban me for that. They banned me simply because I had large swaths of the population agreeing to very traditional masculine values. Teenage men and young men, 22, 23, 24, were looking up to me.
I think even conservative moms didn't like what he had to say. That's why he got clapped up so quick.
And a big house and a lot of money and a beautiful girlfriend. And they thought this was very, very threatening. And for some reason, they decided that it's better if they annihilate me from the internet and replace me with somebody who's more.
Why did this fucker have a gamer chair in his bathroom, bro?
Is to young men.
Yeah, so I think that being a man is very, very difficult. I think that men's issues are largely overlooked. The people in charge of the world pretend to care, but when somebody who's championing men's issues like myself comes forward and finally manages to garner huge percentiles of the public support, I'm silenced. So they're not really interested in men's issues. And there's a lot of young men growing up today that feel very disaffected. They feel
agree with
invisible.
that. But he's the worst person
for it. Agendas that are being forced down their throats are not agendas they align with or they feel affinity to or agendas they want. And I basically just say to men, look, it's a very hard life. You're going to need to get up, work hard, go to the gym. Strong body is a strong mind. You're going to have to reject listening blindly to everything you're told. Reject the slave mind. Think for yourself. Get a strong network of brothers. Work aside them. Don't tolerate low-quality people in your life, which means don't tolerate men who just smoke drugs and play video games, or men who are disloyal or dishonest. By extension, don't tolerate women or girlfriends who are disloyal or dishonest.
My man literally,
oh
dude, this is so cool. This is the funniest backpedal I've ever seen.
Programming that the Matrix tries to influence you with, and grow up truly happy. And what happens is when I say these things, they ignore 95% of what I say. They ignore me saying that you need to avoid low-quality men.
He went from
take the bit where I say
he went from Aiden Ross to Tucker Carlson talking shit about video games.
On a reel, a very short 3 or 4 second clip, and then they say I'm a misogynistic person and I'm dangerous to women and I need to be banned. The problem is that the majority of young men in the world today are completely invisible, and social media has made them invisible. If you go into an Instagram feed, you have extremely beautiful women, which is fine. They're beautiful. They're allowed to take pictures. But the only men who have followers are men with massive social status, right? Men with Ferraris and money, or rappers, or people who have YouTube channels, interesting people. If you're a normal man with a normal job, you don't really exist in the online world. It's very difficult to get followers.
Same with women. What the
You don't really matter. You don't have access to the sexual marketplace. It's very difficult for you to even get any kind of recognition that you're even alive. And a lot of men feel
Bro, I think this dude hangs out with so many Instagram women that he forgot that like real women exist without like massive social media following.
Perhaps, but that's the way the game works. You need to become a man of importance. You need to become a man of influence, or you're going to suffer the pain of being invisible forever. Here is how you do it. I wasn't trying to change the rules of the game. I was just telling the men how to win, because I came from nothing and I'm completely and utterly self-made. I think the reason a lot of men
he will never pop off.
Invisible. They feel like
I'm calling it. He will never pop off like this. He's too cowardly. He tamped down. He genuinely brought the rhetoric down so much. That's not why he popped off. He popped off because he was easy to consume and understand and said ridiculous shit.
And at the same time, all these social media platforms pretend to care.
Nah, this is just boring. Now you're just a bald dude in his bathroom crying about being banned off social media.
They have absolutely no care for the young men of the world today. They think that by banning me, I'm just going to vanish, and the young men are just going to go and start eating the gruel that they're fed on their YouTube feed. They don't want to read. They don't want to see transgender people wear makeup. They don't want to see that. They want to see a man who has a bunch of money and a nice life and some fast cars and is strong and is confident. They want an action hero. And that's something that large portions of the world still want to be. And YouTube and social media platforms obviously just don't like the idea of that. They want to get rid of me and try and replace me with something they see as far more malleable, trying to create people which are more malleable and more easy to program and more easy to control.
So news accounts in the United States say that the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest, Romania, was tipped off to your misdeeds and alerted the local authorities you might be committing human trafficking. Given that this is the same charge they leveled against Julian Assange, or a species of it, you know, skeptical, but I want to know the details. Were you arrested for human trafficking? What happened?
He's a truth teller like Julian Assange.
Suffered from a case of swatting. It's very popular with people who are large on the internet. Many large YouTubers have been swatted. It's where you call the police and you say somebody has a gun or there's a hostage situation and the SWAT team arrives.
No, it's not.
Somebody
because it doesn't make national news or international news when you get swatted, because there is no actual legal charge associated on top of it.
To the world. I have absolute respect for the police. I would hate to live in a country where if you call the police saying women are being held against their will, that the police don't respond. That would be terrible. Of course they should come and look. Absolutely. They turned up, they investigated, they realized that nobody was in the house against their will. There was no crime committed. They said, okay, you're not a suspect, but you are a witness to this, along with me, my brother, the housekeeper, the gardener. Everybody who was in the premises at the time was labeled a witness. We had to go to the police station for 45 minutes for pieces of paper.
I'm telling you, he's too
we
boring.
filled him in and we were let go.
This is not what popped him off. What popped him off was saying dumb shit. And if he does this, if he speaks like this, like a little neutered cat, no one's gonna clip this. You can't clip this and put this on TikTok.
So sum up for us, if you would, what you think the response.
What you can clip and put on TikTok is what he actually said about why he went to Romania, which is like, you know, because he can do Me Too stuff there.
So I certainly made them mad with my views on COVID. I don't want to go to conspiracy theory, and I would also never kill myself. Let me just say that here for the record. But at the time of COVID, first being announced, my brother and I decided we sat and had a very logical conversation, and we sat and said, we're two young fighting age males. If COVID can kill us, then the world is over. It's zombie apocalypse time. So there's no point hiding. We may as well go out with a bang. So my brother and I flew to Stockholm, Sweden. Now, I don't know if many people know this, but Sweden never closed down. Stockholm and Sweden never closed down, never made you wear masks, never mandated the vaccine. At the very beginning of COVID, when the rules were strictest, when Florida was still closed, when Miami was still closed, when the Republican states were still closed, Stockholm, Sweden was wide open with full nightclubs and a party scene like you've never seen. And we lived in Sweden for 3 solid months with zero restrictions, zero worry or interest in COVID. It was like the world was completely normal. And from there, when we left, obviously COVID was still going on. And in a neighboring country, you go to Germany, and they were having full panic attacks, genuine panic attacks if you didn't have a mask on. And it was just very obvious to me. I was like, I've spent the last 3 months ignoring this and I'm fine. And now I'm in Germany surrounded by panic attacks.
Wait, didn't this fucker literally give Michaela Peterson COVID, who then gave it to Jordan Peterson, or was that Michaela's next boyfriend?
The decimation of your income, the fact you can't go get a doctor's appointment for a genuine ailment.
It wasn't him, right? It was it was the other one, right?
The fact
or was
that
it
you
him?
can't see your loved ones in their final days. These things
it was the
are
Russian
far
guy.
more destructive than the common cold. I think that what they're doing is unfair. I think it's a massive overreaction. And this is based on my personal experience. And I think at the time there was a lot of pushback, but I would like to
the COVID narrative about like, oh, the numbers are fake or whatever is boring. Like it's already old school. You know what I mean?
I used to say to my brother, how will people struggle with the cognitive dissonance when
people have mostly checked out of like the COVID thing. Most normies are like, yeah, all right, we're living our lives now. You know what I mean? We had to do what we had to do.
We're all hiding from is still right there, out there to get you. But now everyone walks around and they're not scared of it anymore. And I'm like, are people critical enough to analyze themselves and say, for a year of my life, I was deathly afraid of something. Now I'm exposing myself to said thing and I'm not afraid anymore. The media tricked me and I was a fool. But they're not. They don't even seem to self-analyze and go, I got tricked. They're just like, oh, okay, next thing. Hey, Andrew now. Like robots. It's mind-bending.
I don't know if
So
he knows
I
this,
saw
but
you
something
compare
crazy
the
happened.
experience
It's
of
called
rich
vaccines,
people
which he's
under
against, I
Ludwig
think.
wanted
And
to
also
everybody
even
else.
Paxlovid and like
Nervous
numerous
about that.
treatments
It seemed
came
like
out,
a two-tiered response.
which greatly reduced the number of casualties of COVID.
Yeah, so the story was very simple. I
Even
was
though in the
flying
United States of America, more than 1 million people died, which I guess is not that important.
air carriers. It's only low cost primarily. There's not much first class, business class, anything like that. And I was flying, and my experience was plagued by endless paperwork, wearing a mask, put the mask over your nose. Every time you eat, you have to put the mask on in between. I got told off for not having the mask up high enough. I got told off for drinking too long because my mask wasn't on. Pure panic and chaos. And because I'm fortunate enough to be fiscally secure, from there I decided I'll just buy private jets from now on. And when I bought a private jet, there was no masks, no paperwork, no mask at the airport when I landed. My air stewardess was not wearing a mask. My pilot was not wearing a mask. COVID didn't exist once I bought a private jet. Very interesting. Maybe if you're rich enough, COVID can't take, maybe COVID's scared of money. I'm not sure. But it seems that everyone who's flying on private jets never had to worry about COVID ever. It's just the people at the bottom.
Wait, what? Yeah, no shit, bro. What the fuck? Yeah, because you're around literally one other person that's also tested. What?
Are only the rules for a certain class of people.
My man literally
And once you
said,
pass a certain
I self-isolated in my private jet, and for some reason, I didn't get COVID while flying. Yeah, a luxury afforded to
for me to
everyone.
make a joke of it, but when I would fly on a private jet and do whatever I wanted, or go to Sweden and party in nightclubs and do whatever I wanted, and then I'd come to, let's say, England and see my friend who couldn't go see his dying grandmother because of a COVID restriction, that's truly sad. That's truly criminal. It's really crazy what's happened and how the world's just moved on, and the cognitive dissonance that people don't have enough respect for themselves and for the truth to analyze how they were so easily fooled. It's really sad to even think about, but maybe that was the beginning of me being disliked by just pointing out my human experiences during the pandemic. But I want to tell you something that's actually kind of scary about this banning. It all came so hard and so fast that I don't know if they all just follow each other. I don't know if they're all influenced by each other. I don't know if there's someone above them all. But when they go to cancel you, ladies and gentlemen, it comes hard and fast. You lose your Facebook, then your Instagram, then your Gmail, then your Discord, then your website hosting, then your domain name, then your payment processor, then your bank. And it's just like in real time, you're watching your phone and apps just exploding. Boom, boom, boom. It's crazy.
That's it?
Andrew Tate, you don't have to agree with everything a man says to believe he has a right to speak in public, and we do believe that. No one gets to tell you who you can watch. No one gets to tell you what you have to think. No one gets to tell you who you have to hate. You're an American and an adult. You can make those decisions yourself. So why don't they want you to hear from Andrew Tate? They really think he's a worse influence on the youth than, say, Cardi B. Tell us how. They're telling us he's a criminal. Okay. Has he been charged? Who are the victims? What are their names? It's going to take a lot more than that to have us believe he should be canceled, or anyone else, by the way. We're against censorship. Period.
I'm telling you, dude.
And more than anything, we're in favor
telling
of
you,
people making up their own
He's in a
minds.
double bind. That it's the Trump conundrum, right? In many ways, you can never have another Trump. Trump is a media demon, right? And if someone is that level of media demon and that level sassy and that
censored.
level of a narcissist,
Virtually everyone's being censored. The Pentagon now punishing service members for liking the wrong tweet.
okay, that's ridiculous. All right, we're done with the Andrew Tate part. So here's what I'll say about that. There's this concept such as how you will never be able to have another Trump, right? Because Trump is sassy, he's a media demon. Also, he's incompetent at the same time because of how sassy he is and how much of a media demon he is, right? Because of that, Ron DeSantis can't be Trump. If you want to be like Trump, you have to play a very delicate balance. You have to toe the line of being a sassy bitch who says crazy shit, but that will sometimes also tilt the balance. Andrew Tate can't simultaneously be on social media without being banned while also maintaining the same level of attention and eyeballs. In order for him to command millions of eyeballs like he did, he has to be crazy. But if he's being so crazy, that's how he got banned. He went over the line and became the singular force of misogyny. He rode the misogyny wave to a tremendous amount of success because he became the face of misogyny online. The face of the guy that 11-year-olds were quoting. He got clapped up. Why did he get clapped up? because of all the crazy shit that he was saying. He flew too close to the sun. So now he's trying to dial that back. But even if all these platforms were to turn around and be like, oh, my bad, here, let's reinstate your accounts. It was really up that we did that. Then if he maintains the same kind of boring content that he's doing on Tucker Carlson, like, oh, I'm just a regular old guy. Oh, I don't know. I just wanted men to be strong. If he says that, then that's boring. That's not going to work because then you're not going to be as popular. So in many ways, like this shot across the bow kind of destroyed him completely. It took the air from under his wings immediately because he can't be polarizing. He can't be as aggressive in his misogynistic takes anymore because now everyone expects that of him. So if he were to come back on and he were to do the same shit, then they would ban him again. And he also doesn't have a lot of allies because he blew up too quickly before he could build a solid foundation, a network of right-wingers that would turn around and defend him unconditionally. He also was not going to get that network of right-wingers to defend him unconditionally because he is potentially a sex trafficker and out and about groomer slash e-pimp. You know what I mean? And good luck trying to get conservatives to be on board with that. I mean, they're psychos. And Tucker Carlson has a really good eye for these sorts of things. Like, he'll use you to get a little bit of clout, but he's not going to ride for you. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, you're just known as an e-pimp, and you've been arrested for sex trafficking. You are not a part of the system. You're not Steven Crowder. If Steven Crowder got banned, every other conservative is going to ride for him because he's a part of that ecosystem. He doesn't have the same background that Andrew Tate has. He was always going to be a 15-minute of fame Andy, even if he didn't get banned. These takes get stale fast, and Zoomers would quickly move on to the next thing when he keeps saying the same stuff over and over again. Same thing that happened on Fresh and Fit when they fell off. He's lucky now. He might be a martyr. Best outcome for him. I kind of agree with that as well. Fresh and Fit really was popping for a while, for like a month or so, because everyone was clipping their shit out and posting it everywhere. And the more they triggered people, the more prominence they gained. And now no one gives a no one watches their shit. Yeah, now they're stale and fat pretty aggressively. That's interesting because Trump also didn't belong in the elite group. Trump is a billionaire who literally dicked his way into the Republican Party, one of the most powerful institutions on the planet. What are you talking about? Are you insane? If Donald Trump wasn't a part of the Republican Party's infrastructure, which they basically caved and handed off to him, they gave the keys to the castle to Donald Trump because they were like, all right, you were too successful. You defeated us in our primaries. Now we're just going to roll with you, especially because you're also rich. You're a billionaire. So we know you're not going to rock the boat. You're not going to turn around and like institute communism or some shit. Trump was also a, real estate, born into a real estate family, was profoundly wealthy, failed upwards his entire life. You know what I mean? Like he had a incredibly popular TV show, The Apprentice. Yeah, Trump was friends with the Clintons, chatters. What do you mean he wasn't a part of the institutions? Like he was very much a part of the institutions. Maybe he wasn't a part of the Republican Party's institution, but he certainly took over during the primaries. And then they turned around and they made him a solid plank of the Republican Party because he was channeling the Republican message very effectively. He was a very effective orator of the Republican anxieties and anger. Well, of course, these institutions are going to defend him. But Andrew Tate's some random guy that had a 15-minute of fame and really blew the up, like in unimaginable ways, in ways that we've never seen before. You were always hating on Tate. This just shows how much space he holds in your head. More space, yeah. Even his WrestleMania appearance was tied to Linda McMahon's failed political career. I'm not reading Bates today, bro. I'm not gonna maul at a random chatter today. Do you feel a sense of worry that someone like this can blow so fast? What does that say about the state of young men? No, that doesn't say anything about the state of young men. If anything, it says the state of how easily you can use right-wing framing, right-wing narratives, reactionary and really explosive commentary to blow the up in our social media environment. That's what I'm talking about. Like, he very successfully penetrated social media and was able to explode in popularity in such a short period of time, partially because he was reinforcing pre-existing dynamics that everyone is socially conditioned into believing. That's how he did it. AstroTurf is a science that will improve. Fam, learn emotional intelligence and critical thought to find truth. Good luck. But he basically became like what Justin Bieber is to like 12-year-old girls at the time when we were growing up, or what any celebrity is to like young girls now. He was that to young boys. And that market has never been as easily served as Andrew Tate did. I've never seen that before. Misogyny has always existed, but not many have been able to effectively communicate misogynistic attitudes to like 11 and 12-year-old kids, boys, in the same way that Andrew Tate did. Andrew Tate. He did. He had a way of communicating in an incredibly dumb way that really appealed to like 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, because the internet, whether you like to admit it or not, and this is a much older community than the rest of the internet, still insanely young in comparison to the rest of the political content consumers, but we're still much, much older than the rest of the internet. The internet is run by 12 to 16-year-olds. Whoever can hold an audience of 12 to 16-year-olds captive with their content is straight up, they're going to explode. You had the Minecrafters that were able to do that successfully. You had Andrew Tate. You have any matter of celebrities that are on TikTok, all the TikTokers. They are the ones who are able to do that because those kids are on the internet all the time. They have nothing else going on in their lives. Mr. Beast. Great example. xQc and Miz. No, xQc and Miz are nothing in comparison to the people that I'm talking about. Come on, man. I'm talking about Mr. Beast, brother. Are you serious? We're in a very insular community, and you have no idea. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about Mr. Beast. I'm talking about like TikTok celebrities and shit. Hasanabi Tate is just all a show. Hasanabi equals Tate is just all a show. I think it's a little bit different. There is a component. I also am entertaining. I try to be as entertaining as possible with my message. But the difference between me and Andrew Tate is that, like, Andrew Tate might genuinely and legitimately believe in the misogynistic shit he's saying. And I certainly believe in the shit that I'm saying. Okay, definitely. But I've been doing this for 10 years. I wasn't doing this because it was going to be popular one day. I had no clue it was ever going to be this popular. My way of thinking. Are you out of your mind? All jokes aside, I never thought that I was becoming a content creator on the online space when it was incredibly hostile to my way of thinking. There was no island. There was no safe haven for my kind of opinion. Leftist ideas, progressive ideas. It's still an incredibly hostile space for leftist ideas. The internet still is, because society is still incredibly reactionary. That's why I get an insane amount of hatred from so many different groups, that even people who are like not immediately, even people who don't immediately hate me, they go, what the going on? This is crazy. But back in 2015, all the way into like 2019, this shit was crazy. This shit was insane. It was unimaginable. A lot of the people who are in here now who had their minds changed, maybe some of them by me, some of them by others, those people know what it was like. It was just like, it was all right-wing shit. All right-wing shit on the internet. Absent, thank you for the 5 get the subs. Did you just Google trend Hasan? You have to search Hasan Piker, my friend. Let's see Andrew Tate. Let's see what he's up to. Let's see what Andrew Tate's clout looks like now. I mean, it still looks like he's growing. I don't think his popularity is like waning, but it's like finally on a downtrend. It went down and then it went up again when he got banned, but I think it'll be worse than that overall. It'll fall overall. What a Trump comparison. That's crazy. To the world. Damn, Andrew Tate passed Donald Trump in that period. That's wild. And is still above Donald Trump. That's so funny when say like I platformed Andrew Tate. But yeah, look at this. This is where it starts. It's like boom, 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 blew the up. August 10 starts going down, gets banned, starts going up again, but now he's going back down again, and it'll fall off a cliff now. Thin blue line. Guys, I know, I make no mistake. I know where I'm at with my social media trends. Like I know that I'm showing this to show you how silly it is to say that I have the capacity to platform someone like Andrew Tate. Hasanabi is less searched than Hasan Piker, by the way. But yeah, isn't it the same way identity politics have infiltrated young kids in schools in the same way we've never seen before? What do you mean identity politics have infiltrated kids in schools in a way that we've never seen before? What the does that even mean? Hasanabi Mer spotted at Fiancé. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Andrew Tate, but I think his popularity is kind of done.
Their platforms to try and paint a negative picture of you because they don't like you. A lot of these attacks against me are disguised under the virtue of caring about women. But none of these people who are attacking me care about women. None of them donate to women's charities. None of them donate to charity like I do. None of them.
Brother, you're so bad at shitting on women that like half these people that don't ever donate to charities of women are just automatically better if they don't say stuff like women are property.
And help anybody. I'm about to show later on in this video proof of the massive work I do for helping people. They don't help anybody. All they do is just attack me. And
a 75-minute YouTube essay complaining about people attacking him as peak breadtube energy. Maybe he can convert. Yeah, maybe. Donate literally right now or you hate women. I mean, I've donated more to female charity than he has.
Use fake virtue, the fact they pretend to care, as a reason to attack somebody who they personally don't like. And it's very, very different to actually care about an issue or weaponize an issue and pretend to care to try and damage someone else's life. These are very, very different things.
Right, though. You keep shitting on him, but you never do any charity streams for abortion or something. Yeah, you're right. You're so right. If only I had done that, you know what I mean? If only I had like raised hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And this is the reason why I have not tried to dispel these myths as hard as I could have, because I understood that these people are always going to hate me and they're always going to lie about me, no matter what I say or do. But considering in light of the final ban, and considering I have the public consciousness, I think it's extremely important that for myself and for my family and for people I care about, that I tell the truth and I make the truth known to the world, because that is the only intention in my video, is to sit and tell the truth. And the fact that I'm a very, very iron-minded individual who is not negatively affected by these smear campaigns is not reason enough for me not to.
Bro, what do you mean you're not negatively impacted by these smear campaigns and you have an iron mind? You're literally crying for 73 minutes about being banned, brother. That is the exact opposite energy of like being an iron-minded individual.
Sit, take time, and dispel all the negatives. I am fully aware that not everybody is going to agree with what I say. I don't think there's a person on the planet you can find who has a 100% approval rate. There's always going to be somebody who disagrees with what you say. If I said the earth was round, there would be a contingent of individuals on the planet. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. I have no problem with being seen as controversial for some of the things I've said. I do have two significant problems I would like to address. The first is I do not like absolute and utter lies being told about me. I do not like having long form video of me.
I don't think anybody said he believes the earth is flat. I can't get over his accent being so different, dude. I feel like, dude, this is way too long, and I'm gonna listen. This is way too long. There is content here to be had, though. There is definitely content here to be had. I'm gonna watch this tomorrow.